Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy. If you have not practiced with me before, welcome to our My Utopia Restorative Flow on Sunday. I am taking this class as our self-care Sunday hour just to show our bodies some beautiful love and kindness. And we are going to just do a very gentle flow this morning. It's accessible for all levels. So if you've got your family with you, if you've got your kids with you, there's a really great sequence of postures that we're going to work through, really beginner friendly. And I'll show you some variations in some of the postures as well. Before we get started, I'd just like to go through our props one more time, because we will be doing some of our positions in the beginning seated on the mat. If you have some books, some hardcover books, would be great to replace a block. Just if you experience some tightness in the hips and the legs. And then I have a little cushion. You can just take another towel or a little cushion if you want, just for some support in some of the postures. And then I have also taken a towel and rolled this up like a bolster, so that this can also be used as support. So these are 3 easy household items that you can find, that you can just have with you. And of course, a little bit of water if you'd like to take a sip of water during the class. It is a very restorative and restful practice, so you won't really be sweating, but we will be working through some deep stretching of the body. And for those of you who are new to yoga, just be mindful of what your body is allowing you to practice this morning. Just go with what your body is showing you, and don't push yourself too hard in any of the postures. Should never experience any kind of searing pain. Some discomfort is common when the body is tight, and we use the breath to help us just breathe and surrender into the postures, but never experience any kind of searing pain. If you do, please come out of the posture. So we're going to begin today's practice just in an easy cross-legged seat in the center of your mat. We are going to be here for a while already, so if you'd like to just sit on a book or a couple of books just to help create that little bit of elevation. We are sitting with our spines nice and tall and straight. So you imagine you have a rod pulling you up through the crown of the head. You can let the hands just rest, palms up towards the ceiling, in a gesture of openness and acceptance. And we're going to close our eyes here for a moment as we just settle into the mat and breathe. I'm going to take us through a short breathing exercise before we start moving, just so that we can create that connection with the body and the mind, and that we can all connect here together. So let's just begin by taking one inhale through the nose and open mouth, gentle sigh. Take one more inhale together through the nose here. And open mouth sigh, letting everything go. Now we begin. Inhale for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful, everyone. Let's begin our seated warm-up. As we inhale, we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips for a seated forward fold. So I'd like you to focus on walking those fingers out on the mat as far forward in front of you as is comfortable. The more time we spend in this posture, you may find that your body offers you a little bit more opening. So after a couple of breaths, you'll be able to walk the fingers forward just a little bit more. So already now you should be feeling a stretch in the back of the thighs and the glutes, and a gentle stretch coming through the shoulders and the top of the back. As we inhale, we lift our chest slightly, and as we exhale, we move a little bit more into the space. So allow ourselves to forward fold a little bit deeper. You can begin to bring your forehead towards the mat now. It doesn't matter if your forehead isn't touching the mat or if you're only halfway down. We're just working with what the body is allowing for this morning's practice. Remember to always bring the attention back to the breath, focusing on the inhales and exhales, trying to keep equal length for each. See if you can move your fingers just a little bit more forward, even if it's a micromillimeter, even if we're just doing the action of lifting each hand one at a time and then resting them back down on the mat. My cats are meowing. Apologies if you can hear them. I know they like to practice yoga with me, but sometimes they walk in front of the camera, making it hard. So as you exhale, let's just gently begin to walk the hands back to the lap. As we inhale, we lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Now switch the legs around so the non-dominant leg is in front. And as we exhale, we begin to forward fold gently, hinging from the hips one more time. Hands reaching out in front of you. Walking them gently forward, allowing the forehead to hang. The most important part of our yoga practice is the focus on the breath. It doesn't matter how flexible you are. It's a non-competitive practice. So just allow the body to surrender into the postures and enjoy the healing benefits that we get from each of them. So here again, we're focusing on that stretch for the back of the legs, the glutes, feeling the stretch now in the upper part of the back as well, the shoulders. And as we exhale, we gently begin to walk the hands back to the lap. As we inhale, we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we take the left hand, place it on the outside of the right thigh, and place the right hand pressing the palm into the mat at the base of the spine. So this is our seated twist. So as we inhale again, we lift the chest. As we exhale, we begin to look over the right shoulder. With each inhale, we create space, and as we exhale, we allow the body to move a little bit deeper into that space. So with every inhale, lift the chest slightly, and as you exhale, twist a little bit deeper, taking your time, gently looking over that right shoulder and stretching with your eyes as well. On your next exhale, let's begin to release the arms. Give those shoulders a little wiggle, just releasing any bit of lost tension we would have in those shoulders. As we inhale, we lift the hands up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, it is now the right hand that is being placed on the outside of the left thigh. And the left hand pressing into the mat at the base of the spine really helps to elongate the spine. So as you watch me press the hand into the mat, see how my spine just lengthens. As we inhale, we lift the chest, and as we exhale, we begin to twist, looking over the left shoulder this time. Remember to always bring the attention back to the breath and to use the breath to help you surrender into the posture. So let's see now if we can stretch a little bit more, twisting a little bit deeper over to the left side. Inhaling to create that space, and as we exhale, we twist a little bit more. On your next exhale, begin to release the arms. Give them another little wiggle, wiggle. As we inhale, we bring the hands back up to the ceiling. And as we exhale now, we place the right hand down onto the mat, on the right side of the mat. And we press into the mat to help press our body away. So you can see how as I'm pressing into the mat, I'm pressing my body open to the left-hand side and away from the right. And my left hand then curls down over into that seated side bend or seated half moon. You can begin to look up towards the thumb if you would like to, if that feels comfortable, or you can just look straight ahead of you. You should feel a nice deep stretch and opening on the left side of the body, all the way up from the hip area to the armpit and through to the shoulder, even up to the elbow. Remember, we're not collapsing into the right side. We're pressing ourselves up and away from the mat and then bending over. As we exhale, we begin to release that left hand down. Inhale to bring both hands back up towards the ceiling. Exhale now to place the left hand down onto the mat, pressing into the mat so you're opening now on the right side of the body. So pushing the body away from the left. And now we begin to let that right hand curl over for our seated side bend or half moon on the left side. Looking up now towards the thumb if you would like to. Remember, we're not collapsing into that left side. We're pressing our body up and away from the mat, pressing that left hand into the mat, fingers spread nice and wide. As we exhale, we can release that right hand down to the mat. Now we're going to do a little bit of work for our shoulders. We're going to stay seated but do eagle arms. So let's inhale to lift our hands up one more time towards the ceiling. As we exhale, we bring the right arm under and connect the elbows into the crook to meet. So it doesn't matter how open the shoulders are. The most important thing is that we keep the connection and the compression here between the elbows. Now bring your hands around to touch. So if you can, touch the palms or keep the back of the hands to touch, or you can grab opposite shoulders. So whatever feels more comfortable here for you this morning, find the stretch that works for you. You can feel we're opening up the upper back, working into the shoulder blades. Wherever you are with your arms, let's lift the elbows up slightly now, creating a bit of a deeper stretch for the back. So even if you're grabbing opposite shoulders, you can lift the elbows up. If your arms are in that pretzel-like shape, let's exhale, begin to release them now, bringing the hands down to the mat. Let's just give this another little wiggle, wiggle. And as we inhale, we bring the hands back up to the. Now this time the left arm goes under, right arm on top. Once you have that connection with the elbows, then reach for the hands. So bringing the palms to touch, or the back of the hands to touch, or reaching for the shoulders, opposite shoulders. So wherever you are here, let's gently begin to lift the elbows up, just creating a slightly deeper stretch now for the upper back, feeling the shoulder blades really open. And if your arms are in that pretzel shape, let's begin to release that as we exhale, bringing the hands down to the mat, just allowing another little wiggle for the shoulders. So where you are seated on your mat, we're going to roll over into child's pose. So rolling over the knees, placing the hands down on the mat, bring the toes to touch behind you, keeping the knees out to the edge of the mat now. So this is quite a nice wide child's pose. Sit back down onto the ankles first. So for some of us, we won't be able to always keep the connection of our sit bones to our ankles while we lean forward. That's perfectly fine. The aim is that we try to create that reach. So we're elongating the spine. So first, let's come down onto the forearms, just placing the forearms onto the mat. And from here, still see if you can try and keep that connection of the sit bones onto the heels. It doesn't matter if you begin to lift, but try and imagine that you're reaching to press the sit bones down. Now let's begin to extend the hands forward out in front of us and bring the forehead down to the mat. So imagine you reaching forward with the head, and at the same time, you're trying to reach the tailbone back behind you. So we are creating this length of the spine. Let the belly be soft. Feel as you inhale, the belly expands between the thighs. And here the elbows are lifted up off the mat. Let's take a moment to bring our hands up onto our fingertips. So just creating a bit of a deeper stretch. Now releasing the hands back down to the mat, let's begin to walk the hands over to the left-hand side. So place the left hand just outside of the left side of the mat and place the right hand on top. So you should feel now a stretch on the right side of the body as the body begins to open. Bring the forehead down to the mat one more time. Now on your next inhale, let's begin to spider finger the hands over to the right side. So the right palm now rests on the outside of the right side of the mat. Left palm rests on top of the right hand. So we're feeling the stretch and opening of the left side of the body now. Bring the forehead down to meet the mat. Remember to always bring your attention back to the breath quietening the mind, focusing on the inhales and the exhales. On your next inhale, let's begin to walk the hands back to center. Now I'd like you to bring the elbows down to the mat, bring the hands into that prayer-like pose, walk the elbows slightly forward, and then bring the hands to the base of the neck. So as you rest your forehead on the mat, the hands lift and come up and round and rest at the base of the neck. As we exhale, begin to release the hands down to the mat. And as we inhale, we begin to press up into our tabletop position. So to check that everything is correctly aligned, the knees are directly beneath the hips. To measure that, you can take your two fists and place them between the knees. And then as you reach forward, the hands are directly beneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide so they create a great grip on the mat. Now we're going to move into a few rounds of cat and cow, just mobilizing the spine. So let's inhale as we drop our belly, begin to look up towards the ceiling, sticking the bum out at the back, stretching and opening the throat. And as we exhale, tilting the pelvis inwards, rounding the spine, looking towards the belly button now. Inhale, drop the belly, stick the bum out, begin to look up towards the ceiling, stretching with the eyes as well. As we exhale for cat, we round the spine, tilting the pelvis inwards, looking towards the belly button. Press into the mat with the hands. Inhale, cow, dropping the belly, sticking the bum out, looking up, really feeling the opening for the chest and the throat chakras. And exhale for cat, rounding the spine, imagining that you have a Pilates ball beneath you and you're trying to round over the ball. And as we inhale, the ball now rests on our back, so we're creating the curvature of the spine as to not drop that Pilates ball. Let's exhale now for cat. Last inhale for cow. Looking all the way up. And last exhale for cat, really pressing into the mat now. Try and press the spine up against the ceiling. And we inhale for neutral spine. Beautiful work, everyone. If you would like to take a small sip of water, you're welcome to do so now. Otherwise, we can just continue with our practice. It's best to practice with an empty stomach, so I hope none of you have had breakfast, or at least not too much of a big breakfast. It just helps to ease into the postures. It's difficult to practice with a full stomach. So now we're going to move into thread the needle. So let's begin by bringing our attention to the right hand. As we inhale, we lift the hand up towards the ceiling. Let's rotate our wrist 3 times in one direction and then 3 times in the opposite direction before we exhale to thread the needle. So now bringing that right hand between the left thigh and arm, we're resting it on the mat and bringing the right temple to the mat. So from here, you can walk the fingers of the left hand forward, so you're creating that beautiful square-like shape with the body, with the 2 arms. So one arm facing out towards the left and one stretching out in front of you. Now, for those of you who are feeling quite open this morning with your shoulders, if you'd like to take a bind now, you're welcome to. So focus your attention on that left hand. Inhale as you lift the hand up and bring it around the body. So you're reaching now for the inside of the right thigh. If you are in the bind, begin to release that arm now back to our position with the extension. And we're here just for 2 more breaths. Now slowly as you exhale, begin to walk that left hand beneath the left shoulder. As we inhale, we press into that hand to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling, and exhale to plant the right hand back down onto the mat. Now for the opposite side, as we inhale, we lift that left hand up towards the ceiling. Rotate the wrist 3 times in one direction, and then 3 times in the opposite direction. And as you exhale, thread the needle on the opposite side, bringing the left temple to the mat. From here, you can extend the right hand out in front of you. And if you took a bind on the one side and you'd like to attempt the bind on the opposite side, let's focus on that now, lifting the right hand and bringing it round to reach for the inside of the left thigh. Let's begin to release the bind now, bringing the hand back to that extension out in front of you. Just here for 2 more breaths. And then as you exhale, walk that right hand beneath the right shoulder. As you inhale, lift the left up towards the ceiling, and exhale to plant the hand onto the mat. Beautiful work, everyone. We're now going to move into our puppy's pose. So keeping the hips up where they are, we just begin to come forward down onto the forearms first. Then let's reach for the extension, bring the hands out in front of you. Now just work with what your body is allowing you here today. You can either bring your forehead down to the mat, or if you'd like to create a deeper stretch, try and put the chin on the mat or begin to kiss the mat. And if your body is really open, you might find that your chest even reaches for the mat today. So extending the arms out in front of you, let's begin to find that variation that works for your body. As we inhale, we gently walk the hands back so that we're in our tabletop position. From here, we're going to move into our Sphinx pose. So now walk the feet back behind you and let's bring the body down to the mat. So for the Sphinx pose, you want to aim to get the elbow directly beneath the shoulder. Hands pressed firmly into the mat, fingers spread nice and wide. So the legs are resting on the mat, extended out behind you. And we begin to look up as we press our forearms into the mat. This is a really great posture if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, and especially now, a lot of us don't have our great ergonomic chairs. So perhaps you're experiencing a little bit more back pain if you are sitting and still working at home, or if you're doing other things like spending time on your indoor bicycle, then this is a great posture just to counter all of that hunching forward. If you'd like to, you can even work the elbows a little bit back, pressing into the mat, lifting the chest a little higher. can really feel the squeeze of the glutes. Just here for 2 more breaths. Now let's begin to set up for our crocodile pose. So first focusing on the arms, place the forearm directly parallel with the top of the mat and place the opposite arm on top, or you can place the hands on top of each other. So whatever feels more comfortable for you. Stacking the forearms, bring the forehead down to rest now onto the arms. So you might need to just edge them a little bit more forward. And now bringing the attention to the feet. So take the left foot and point the toes out to the left. So you're kind of rolling on the thigh. And then concentrate on the right foot and point the toes out to the right. So you can really feel the pelvis is now pressing into the mat. It might feel a little unusual at first if you haven't tried this posture before, but it is still quite relaxing. So once you've set your legs up, just begin to rest the forehead down onto the forearms or onto the hands. We're here for 5 more breaths, so just enjoy settling into the posture. On your next inhale, let's begin to release and start to come back up. So releasing the feet, bracing back up into our tabletop position. Beautiful work, everyone. Just taking a moment now to sit back down onto the heels. Just taking 2 rounds of breath here to reset. We're now going to set up for our half pigeon pose. So if you would like to use a cushion or take hold of your bolster now, this is really great to just help with the posture. I know that it can be a little bit strenuous as we begin to open up the hips and the groin area. So from our tabletop position here, let's begin with the right leg. So we're going to bring the right knee to the right wrist. Then we're going to use the left hand to scooch that foot forward. So you imagine now that your legs are forming a number 7. So we're going to be forming 7-like shapes on either side. And just gently begin to work that back foot backwards. So just kind of wiggling it back. So you create that deep scissoring action of the thighs. Really trying to bring that pelvis close down to the mat. So it doesn't matter if your shin isn't parallel to the mat. All together, that you just work with what your body is offering you today. Now, if you would like to make use of your bolster or towel or cushion, you can place that underneath the right thigh. So just in that point where the thigh nearly connects to the bum, just so you can help sit down slightly onto that towel, just to create a little bit of support for the body. From here, we begin to move forward. So let's come down onto our forearms first, and just see if you can wiggle the back foot out behind you a little bit more. And then when you're ready, and if you'd like to extend deeper, stretch the hands all the way out in front of you and bring the forehead down to the mat. You can also clasp the hands in front if that helps. And remember to focus the attention on your breath. It really does help to ease the discomfort in this posture as our body tries to work through the tightness and become more open. We're here for 3 more breaths, so try and enjoy it as much as you can. As we inhale, we begin to lift back up into that seat. If you are using a bolster, begin to remove that now. And to release out of the posture, we're going to press the hands down onto the mat. Now curl the back toes so that you can lift the back knee first. And watch how my body lifts up almost into that high plank position. Now sweep that right foot back and come back down into your tabletop. Now let's begin to set up for the opposite side. So bring the left knee to the left wrist. And let's bring that left foot forward. So we're creating that numeral 7 like shape on the opposite side. So again, if you'd like to make use of your bolster here, you can place it, or your towel or cushion, just place it underneath the left thigh. So wiggling that back foot back to create that scissoring action of the thighs. We're going to now begin to forward fold, so coming down onto the forearms first. If you would like to take the stretch deeper, you can extend the arms straight out in front of you and bring the forehead to the mat. Or clasp the hands in front if you like. Remember to bring the attention back to the breath. Try and quieten the mind. Stay present on your mat. On your next inhale, let's begin to lift back up. If you are using a towel or a cushion, just begin to remove that now. Now, just like we did on the other side, let's begin to curl the back toe first, then lift the back knee, pressing into the hands. You're almost in that high plank position. Now sweep that left foot back and then come down into your tabletop. We're now going to move down onto the mat, so working with our recline postures. So if you'd like to take another sip of water now, you're welcome to do so before we move to lying down on the mat. So when you're ready, just scooch the legs out in front of you and gently begin to lie down. Just being mindful of the spine. Okay, so from here, we're going to do a few different postures, but let's begin first by lifting the knees one at a time and bringing them into the chest. Now I'd like you to wrap your arms around the shins, grabbing opposite elbows if you can, or just reaching for the knees or the calves, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And we're going to stay here for 10 rounds of breath. Now while we're here, I'd like you to focus on trying to reach the bottom of the spine all the way down to the mat. So what that might do is you might feel the knees lifting slightly, and that's completely fine. We're just working with elongating the spine here. And if you'd like to tuck the chin slightly, so we're elongating the neck as well. So imagine you're reaching from both ends of the spine, from the bottom and at the top, trying to elongate the spine, pressing the whole back onto the mat. On your next exhale, you're going to just begin to adjust the arms so that you can release the left leg down to the mat. So extend the left leg down straight out in front of you. Now placing both hands on that right shin, let's just edge the leg slightly out to the right side of the body and feel that compression of the thigh against the outside of the torso. As you inhale, you breathe the belly into the thigh. And imagine that you're trying to get the knee to reach up towards the armpit area, so the right knee towards the right armpit. At the same time, your left leg is extended straight out on the mat. This is great for your digestive system. On your next exhale, let's prepare to set up for our twist by bringing that right leg over to the left-hand side. So releasing the right hand now, extending it out into that T-like shape, holding on to the right leg with your left hand still. Gently guide that leg down. Now it's important to keep both shoulder blades still on the mat, so we're not rolling over to the left-hand side. So we're just allowing that right knee to drop down to where it feels comfortable. So now my left hand is placed just on that outside of the right thigh, gently guiding it down. Both my shoulder blades are pressed into the mat, and now you can begin to look towards that right hand that's extended out in that T-like shape. So this is really great for the lower spine, releasing any last tension that might be stored there. Some of us may experience a little click as the spine releases. Perfectly okay. Just make sure that you're not experiencing any pain whatsoever. As we settle into this posture, you may find that the right knee allows more space to drop down, that the spine just relaxes. On your next inhale, let's begin to lift that right knee back up through to center, bringing both hands now around that shin, giving a little squeeze, pressing that thigh into the torso. And as we exhale, we release that right leg down to the mat. As we inhale, bring the left knee in, allow a little squeeze and compression against the torso now. So placing both hands onto that left shin, slightly press the leg out towards the left. So we're working to get that knee up towards the left armpit area. Really pressing the thigh against the torso here. We're feeling that deep compression. So when we inhale, we feel the belly really pressing up against the side of the leg. This also creates a nice stretch for the back of the thigh. On your next exhale, let's begin to set up for our twist on the opposite side. So release the left hand down to the mat in that T-like shape and gently begin to guide that right leg down as the left leg down with the right hand. So just gently allowing the body to surrender into that twist, keeping both shoulder blades on the mat, keeping that right hand just rested on the outside of the left thigh. And now you can begin to look towards the left hand. Perhaps you may find that the knee is dropping a little bit more as the body begins to really settle into the posture. As we inhale, let's lift that left leg back up through to center, placing both hands on top of the shin. A lovely squeeze into the body. And as you exhale now, place the left foot onto the mat. So the knee is still pointing up towards the ceiling. Let's inhale to lift the right foot up and place it down onto the mat. The right knee is pointing up towards the ceiling. So now the feet are hip width apart or slightly wider than hip width apart. And we're going to do a windscreen wiper motion with the legs. So try and keep the space, the feet where they are in terms of their space. So what happens is when we drop over to one side, the opposite knee will almost reach the ankle of the opposite foot. So let's extend the arms out to the side so both our arms are in that T-shaped position. And let's begin first by exhaling and dropping over to the left-hand side. So just allow the knees to drop over to the left. So you'll see perhaps the right knee now reaches close to where the left foot is. And as we inhale, we come back up through to center and exhale over to the opposite side. Inhales, we lift up through center, exhale over to the left. Inhale up through center and exhale over to the right. Inhale up through center and exhale over to the left. Inhale up through center, exhale over to the right. Inhale up through center and exhale over to the left. Inhale up through center, exhale over to the right. And come up through to center and find the stillness now. So let's focus our awareness on our right leg and bring it into a figure 4 shape. So as we inhale, we lift the foot and we just allow it to rest on top of that left thigh. Now for a little bit of a glute stretch, in case you've been doing some of the other high intensity workouts that Myutopia is offering, like PK's classes, for example, you may need to stretch out those legs a little bit more. So reach the right hand through the gap created in the center of the legs and the left hand on the outside around, clasping the hands around the left shin, just lifting up. You should feel quite a nice stretch for the right thigh and right glute. Can rest the head back down onto the mat if that feels comfortable. And on your next exhale, you can release the grip of the hands, bringing the foot down to the mat, releasing the right foot down. As you inhale now, let's lift the left foot up and gently place that foot on top of the right thigh as you extend that left knee out towards the left side. Now reaching the hands to grasp the right shin, we reach the left hand through the gap in the thighs, the right hand around, and clasp the hands around the shin, feeling the feet lift up off the mat. You can rest the neck and head back down onto the mat and just allow that beautiful stretch for the left side of the thigh and glute. On your next exhale, you can begin to release the foot down to the mat. Let's bring our knees into the chest one more time for a lovely squeeze, lifting the forehead up to meet the knees now. So we're squeezing ourselves into a little ball, just really hugging the body. And as we exhale, we release everything down to the mat. So extend the right leg and the left leg out. Release the hands down to the mat, release the arms down. You may need to shuffle slightly just to make sure that you have enough space. So take up a little bit of space here. Take the ankles out to the edges of the mat if you'd like. Roll the shoulders a little bit if you'd like to. Allow the hands to flop open towards the ceiling. As we set up now for our Savasana posture. So if you need to do any last bit of fidgeting or scratching, do it now before we settle into the posture. I'm going to spend the next few minutes taking us through a guided meditation. So for this part, I'd like you to just focus on the breath and then allow the mind to follow the story that I'm going to take us through. And just feel that sense of calm and relaxation spread throughout the body. So allow the body to rest heavily into the mat, just grounding down into the mat. Let's take a deep inhale together through the nose. And last, open mouth exhale, just letting everything go. Now begin to find that steady rhythm of breath. And if your eyes are not already closed, begin to close them now. I would like you to imagine beautiful fields of lavender. Imagine the color, that gray silveriness and blue. Rolling hills of lavender spreading out all around you, and early morning sunrise. So the sky is golden, and the blooms of the lavender are picking up on those speckles of sunlight. The rows of the lavender plants are very calming for the mind, and they're gentle pathways that navigate through the fields of lavender. Imagine that you can smell the lavender, that calming scent. Breathe it in deeply. Feel the calm of that lavender just spread throughout the body. As you begin to stroll down one of the pathways, feel the feet walking on the earth, soft. Imagine you can feel the soil beneath the toes. It's calm and peaceful. A few birds are singing to one another. You can take your hand and gently allow the feeling of the lavender plants to brush through the fingers as you walk down your beautiful pathway. As we walk around one of the corners, we see an almost enclosure of plants. So imagine that it feels like a little private nook that's appeared. And as you walk around the corner with curiosity, you find a beautiful big Victorian bath filled with steaming water and the scent of lavender strong. Plants are all around you. You gently discard any clothing you may be wearing and begin to step into the bath, allowing the feet to feel the heat first. Not too hot, perfect temperature to allow the body to sink into. So sink all the way down into that beautiful warmth of the bath. Feel the warm water surround the body. Feel it covering every inch of the body up to the neck as you rest your head back and lean it back, taking in the scent of the beautiful lavender around you. The body feels completely relaxed. Take a few easy breaths here, just allowing that feeling of comfort and warmth to surround the body. Nothing else is on the mind, just feeling the beautiful nature all around you, the slight singing of the birds, even the breeze as it gently moves through the plants, creating a deeper sense of calm. You feel the relaxation spread throughout the body as it softens into the warm bath. Gently, you begin to lift yourself out of the bath, pressing down onto the edges to bring yourself up, and step out of the bath and feel the steam rising off the body. As the body dries, we gently begin to put our clothes on if we have any with us, and descend back down to the path, following our way back to the start. Taking a real deep look around at the beautiful fields of lavender. Embracing the beautiful clear sky, the beautiful sunlight. Feeling the plants with our hands for a last time as we head back to where we began. And now gently beginning to wake the body up, finding yourself back on the mat, wiggling the toes, wiggling the hands, touching each fingertip to the thumb. Gently begin to roll over onto one side, resting onto the arm if that feels comfortable, and bring the knees up to the chest. Pressing one hand into the mat, let's begin to sit up, finding our comfortable cross-legged seat, or if you'd like to sit in a kneeling position, whatever feels comfortable for you right now, keeping the eyes closed if you'd like to. Let's lift our hands up towards the ceiling as we take one big inhale together. And as we exhale, the palms touch and hands come down to the chest in that prayer-like pose, pressing the thumbs against the chest. Gently bow the forehead towards the fingertips as we seal off our morning's practice. Taking a few moments here to just thank yourself for showing your body this love and kindness of an hour's practice, this healing practice for the mind. Thank you for letting me guide you through this morning's yoga. If you have a beautiful self-care Sunday further, namaste.